Donald Trump was very upset. I would venture to say erupted a bit over the Supreme Court decision that ordered he has to turn over his tax returns to the House Ways and Means Committee that have been attempting to get his tax return since 2019. And we've talked about this timeline, how so many times he made the excuse that I'm under a routine audit, so I can't release my tax returns to the public and blah, 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 blah. And we understood that you being under audit, which who knows if that's even happening, but if that was the case, number one, why is it not over by now? You were saying that back in 2015 or something. But even further, it doesn't prevent you from releasing it to the public. There's no guideline there that says you can't allow us to see your tax returns even if you're under audit. But he kept saying, I'm under audit, I'm under audit. And then we move along. He's avoided releasing to the public, okay. But the House Ways and Means Committee has a reason to look into his tax returns, and so they've been working to get them. He's been avoiding it and gone through every legal battle to prevent them getting turned over to the House Ways and Means Committee. Probably most importantly to him is because he knows if that indeed does happen, then it'll get leaked. We just know it will leak out of Congress and the public will get to see what it is in those tax returns that he's been so afraid of people seeing. And so now, last effort possible for him to prevent them from getting turned over was the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court didn't side with him. So we talked about all that yesterday, but now we get to his response to that news on Truth Social. Why would anybody be surprised, this is reading from his account, that the Supreme Court has ruled against me? They always do it. It is unprecedented to be handing over tax returns, and it creates terrible precedent for future presidents. Has Joe Biden paid taxes on all of the money he made illegally from Hunter Biden and beyond? The Supreme Court has lost its honor, prestige, and standing, and has become nothing more than a political body, with our country paying the price. They refuse to even look at the election hoax of 2020. Shame on them. And then later he says, in the Supreme Court, the President of the United States does not have standing over his own election. How ridiculous. So again, he never argues the actual reasons why it's not legally, constitutionally justifiable or justified to force him to turn his tax returns over. He'll just attack the institution, or in other cases that we've seen with his other legal challenges, he'll just attack the person, the prosecutor, the attorney general, whoever it is. And that's a sign that he knows the reasoning behind these rulings is perfectly great. It's perfectly fine. But he wants his followers to be mad and to think it's not justified. So his only argument is, the Supreme Court sucks now and they're horrible because they didn't overturn the election for me. But as we understand, the Supreme Court is incredibly conservative right now. And so whenever they unanimously side against Trump, it's for good reason. Because they understand, even as conservative and right-wing as we are, willing to revoke a right that women have had for decades and overturn this important precedent with Roe v. Wade. We're radical enough to do that, but we know we can't even get away with siding with Trump on this one. So he really has no reason there, because all of the explanations you could have for why the Supreme Court has lost so much of its legitimacy and is so much less trusted and believed in by the American people now is because of how conservative and right-wing they've gotten. They've done things that no one would have expected in a reasonable time because of the justices that largely Trump got on the bench. And so it's completely backwards. And that's why I think for someone like him, he really has no argument. It reminds me a lot of when he made all these excuses and screamed so much about the courts being corrupt whenever they didn't side with him on his election cases, because he lost 60 plus court cases after the 2020 election when he was alleging fraud. And what you would say is, okay, you're saying all these courts are corrupt or they're all liberal, but a lot of them were Trump appointed judges. You appointed them. What are we talking about here? And that wouldn't stop them. They would continue on and on and on. But it's similar here, where are you really trying to say that the Supreme Court has just become hardcore liberal or something with those three justices that are clearly handpicked because of how conservative and right-wing they are. That's why you appointed them or nominated them in the Senate, confirmed them for that exact purpose. So don't even give me any of that, Trump. But I am so excited to hopefully get my eyes on his tax returns, because I'm expecting some pretty damning stuff. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before any of the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get access to an extra full show every Saturday that only members can see, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley, and there is a link in the description.